What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm back at Rick's shop. We've been going over this engine for the last probably 2 hours or so. We've pretty much gone through every ground we could, cleaned it all up, and now it fires right up. So I'll show you. It was just a couple of the engine grounds were pretty corroded, but of course. And now no power. The battery just had one crank left in it. Well, anyways, it did crank up. I think I got a video of that. If not, I'll get one later. But it was definitely just the grounds that were the issue. So it's figured out now. We're going to go ahead and add some clutch fluid to it and some transmission fluid, and then hopefully we'll be driving it home. Guys, the hatch is going home. Well, attempting it anyways. It's about a 25-minute drive or so home, so we'll see how it goes. But for now, we're on the road. We are going. So far so good. I'll keep you guys updated with what happens on the way. We'll see. Well, guys, we made it about a quarter mile down the road and we ran into our first problem. I was so excited to get this thing going that apparently I forgot to tighten something down and it was a pretty important something, and it really got my fender pretty good there. And yeah, so luckily I found all of my lug nuts, but I got to go home and get my tools and then come back and tighten that down because I am an idiot. So all right, guys, so I mean, you saw the tire problem, but luckily when I got out to go look for the lug nuts, I also locked my keys in my car. So this awesome sheriff's out here helping me out. Hopefully we'll get it on the road, but luckily all my tools are at home about 20 minutes away. So it's just one of them days, I guess. So we're gonna get this straightened out. There we are. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right, we are back on the way home now. So hopefully we freaking make it this time, guys. This is turning into a process, but we'll get there slowly but surely. All right, guys, the hatch did make it. Did great. I didn't have any problems other than it died at idle twice, but ever since then it stopped dying. Like I said, it was idling super low. When it did catch, it was only idling at like 300 RPMs or so. So it needs turned up a little bit, but other than that, it did great. Didn't overheat, didn't get hot, nothing. It was spraying something all over the windshield. I don't know what it was. I assume it was just water from the top of the intake manifold because it stopped after a couple minutes. But yeah, it's home, guys. It's ready to go. It just needs a tune now and unfortunately a new fender. But yeah, it's ready to go, guys. What's up, guys? It's now been a couple days. I've put probably, I don't know, 35, 40 miles or so on the new swap. I'm sorry, it's pretty windy out here, so I'm sure the sound quality is absolutely terrible right now. But anyways, the hatch needs a valve adjustment super bad. I probably should have done that before I started driving it around, but it's been okay so far. But I'm going to go ahead and try to get that done today. It looks like it might rain, so we'll see. According to my phone weather, it's not going to until later tonight, so we'll see what happens. But for now, I'm going to hopefully get this valve adjustment done, or at least a good amount of it, at least one of the heads done. I can do the next one on a different day. But yeah, so for now I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we'll get started with the front head. Luckily, now that I have my intake spacer on there, I don't even have to take my intake off to get my valve covers off. So that'll make this a relatively easy job. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so right now I got cylinder 6 at top dead center, as you can see there. So that's going to be this one here. So we'll go ahead and start adjusting those. They're pretty loose. I have the tolerances on my phone, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull those up. All right, guys, that is the front head's done. Basically all I did was turn each cylinder to top dead center. In this case it is 4, 5, and 6. So I turned each cylinder to top dead center, and then I just did the respected cylinder. The intake valves were 0.2 of a millimeter, and the exhaust valves were 0.3 of a millimeter, I do believe. So all 3 of these cylinders are done. Probably gonna call it a night because it's starting to sprinkle a little bit. But yeah, so the front head's done. I'll come back to the second head whenever I can and get that one done. But most of the exhaust valves were okay. It was the intake valves that were mostly loose. So yeah, we'll close it up for tonight, guys. Get the valve cover back on, everything, and then call it a night there. We'll move on to the back head here in a couple days or so. What's up, guys? Right now I'm sitting in the hatch. Probably put about 30 or 40 miles on it roughly. Still having some kind of small issues here and there I'm trying to figure out. I took it to work the other day, and as I was pulling into work, it just died. When I pushed the clutch in, it went down, put it in neutral, it revved down, and instead of idling, it just died. So I'm not really sure what caused that. And then when I went to start it back up, this happened in the parking lot at work. When I went to start it back up, it just acted like the battery was dead. It cranked a couple times and just died. So I was thinking maybe the alternator was bad. So that night I got it home, I let it just sit here and idle for probably a half hour. I came out here, I looked in my little Apexi tuner in here, and it was showing that the battery voltage was 13.8 volts. So to me that seems like the alternator is fine. So I'm not really sure what the problem was there. I can't imagine the alternator not working sometimes and working other times. I don't know. So maybe I'm wondering if maybe the idle's set a little too low and that's why it keeps dying, because that's the third time it's done that to me and just died. The other two times I was driving and I just put it in gear, dropped the clutch, and it fired right back up. So I wasn't able to stop and see what actually happened there. But I'm wondering if it's just idling too low, because it does idle pretty low. So I'm gonna go drive around for a little bit, let it get good and warm. I'll probably go over to my parents' house. And then once it's good and warm, I'm going to adjust the idle a little bit and see if I can figure out, or see if that helps. But whenever I'm driving it around in the daytime, I don't have the headlights on. It seems to do just fine. It was only when I was on my way to work, I had my headlights on, the heater was blasting, yada, yada, yada. So it's pulling a lot of power. But when I was checking my battery voltage meter on my tuner, I did the same thing. I had my headlights on. I turned the heat and everything on, and it dropped like a 1/10 of a volt. So that doesn't seem like it's affecting it too much, not to where it's not going to be charging the battery. That being said, it's not like it's impossible. So like I said, I'm going to go drive around for a little bit, try to get it good and warm, see if I can adjust the idle a little bit, and we'll see what happens. Well, guys, change of plans. I came out here to try to start it. It turned over a couple times, it didn't fire, and then the battery just kind of petered out and died. So now it won't crank at all. So I'm going to have to jump it. So I don't know, I'm either having a battery problem or an alternator problem. I'm not really sure which one it is. So I'm going to have to get a voltmeter or something and actually double check what the battery is reading on my gauge down here and see if that's actually correct. And then we'll go from there. But I mean, I don't know what it is. It could be the bad battery from sitting too long. The alternator was fine before. It's the same alternator I was using before, but it also sat for a while, just like the battery did. But I think the battery would probably be more affected than the alternator would. So it's hard to say. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, well, yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and jump it, and then we'll go from there. But it's going to be hard to jump because I have cars on both sides. So maybe I'll just call it a day and get back to this whenever I get some room in here to get my car to jump it. But yeah, so I'm still having some problems, guys. Not big problems, just kind of small problems that are just annoying. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hopefully figure those out, and we'll get this thing rolling. But yeah, when it does run, it runs, and when it doesn't, it doesn't. So welcome back, guys, again, I guess. Today I'm out here with the hatch again, looking to adjust the valves in the back head now. I already did the front head, so I'm looking to do the back head now. And I also think I narrowed down my issue with it starting. I think it's the battery, because it's been sitting for the last 4 or 5 days, and I went to start it up yesterday, and it just cranked twice and then died, and now the battery's dead. So I think the battery's just not holding its charge. So I'm going to go ahead, and after I get these valves adjusted, I'm going to take the battery out of the element, put it in here, and then just go drive it around for a little bit and see what happens. So yeah, without any further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and tear into the rear head and get the valves adjusted. All right, so I got my valve cover off. I do have a video on my channel already explaining how to adjust the valve, so I don't really feel the need to go in depth with that again. But basically all I'm going to do is open this little window right here and turn my crank with my 1/2-inch drive socket wrench. Just inside of this window is a little notch, and on the cam gear in there, it's got little numbers right there. It looks like it's number 4. That would be cylinder 4 being at top dead center. So I'm just going to crank it over until I get the cylinders I want at top dead center, being 1, 2, and 3. So whenever one of those numbers pops up, 1, 2, or 3, then I'll go and adjust the valves for that cylinder. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that. I'm gonna try to figure out somewhere I can set the camera up for a little time lapse, and then we will get started. Adjusted, everything seems okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the valve cover back on, put everything back together, and then grab the battery from the Element, and then we will take it for a drive. Alright guys, so I just got everything finished up. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and see if it starts up with the battery from the Element, and then we're going to take it for a little drive and see how it does. So let's see what we can do. More. Usually takes 2. I don't know why, for whatever reason, ever since I got it back together, always takes 2 to get it running. So the battery definitely sounded a whole lot stronger than the one that was in it before. So yeah, let's take it for a drive, see what happens. Alright, so as you guys can see, I guess you can't really see that too well, but my battery voltage is around 13.7, 13.8-ish. So seems like it's doing okay, but made it about a mile or so down the road now, so I'm just going to keep cruising for a little bit and make sure that everything is good, and then if it is, then we know that it's the battery that's the problem and not the alternator. So yeah. Alright guys, so I've been driving around for roughly the last 20 minutes or so now, and it did great. I had no problems with it. It idled every time I let off the gas. I didn't die once. It still idles a little low. See that? Still idles just a hair low, so I'm going to bump the idle up a little bit on it now that it's good and warm. But yeah, I think the battery is just the problem. So let's see what their voltage is looking like now. 13.6, 13.7-ish volts. So yeah, I think the battery is the problem. So I'll go ahead and just buy a new battery for it, and then yeah, should be good to go, guys. The hatch is back. So yep, I'm gonna bump the idle up on it now and adjusted the idle up, so it's idling about 800 or so RPMs now, right where we want it. So yeah, everything's looking good, guys. Just needed a battery apparently. So actually, let's go see if it'll start right back up. Oh yeah. Yep, so I think I just got a battery problem with this thing, guys. So alright guys, that's gonna do it for this video. So yeah guys, the hatch is back, it's running, it's doing great. All it needs now is a tune to get it at tip-top shape. And other than that, yeah, we'll just be cruising it around, breaking it in. Hopefully by this weekend, should have about 50 miles on it or so. It probably actually might have about 50 miles on it now on the new build. Then I can take the break-in oil out, put some actual decent oil in it, and then just ready, guys. So yeah, as always guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate you guys tuning in whenever it is that I post these videos. It's super awesome. Thanks again, guys. Until next time, we'll see ya.